Hello everyone and welcome back to Kentucky Garden Gal. I am Nancy and in this week's video we are going to be in the kitchen. And I know this isn't something that we normally do, but this is the middle of July and all of the foods that I love are fresh. Yesterday, Cameron and I went shopping in the Amish community and I wanted to show you what I got, and I thought maybe you would be interested in some of the seeds that I'm going to save. I'm going to be putting up some corn in the freezer, and I am going to be making some fresh green beans with potatoes and onions to eat. And then I'm going to cut up a watermelon and a cantaloupe, and I also have 2 tomatoes that I want to show you, and I'm going to save the seeds from those so we can have seeds going into next year. So let's look at everything that we got. This is, I believe this is peaches and cream corn. I have a dozen ears. It was $7. I picked up this watermelon. Now this is a seeded watermelon, and I wanted to tell you how I chose this. This little end is curly, and then I noticed that it had some discoloration. It's a little bit lighter, and then it sounds like it's ripe. So we'll cut into this in just a little bit and see if I picked out a good watermelon. Look at these yummy tomatoes. Aren't those just beautiful? Now this one I'm going to eat today because it looks good and ripe. This one, see how it's green on the bottom here? I'm going to lay this in the window and I'm going to let this ripen for just a day or two. And then as I'm eating this, I will save some seeds from both of these to be able to plant. These are the green beans and new potatoes that I got. So I will show you how I cook these up. They are yummy. And of course, you need a good sweet onion to go in your green beans and potatoes. And this cantaloupe looks yummy. So I will slice this up, save my seeds, and then I'll show you also how I bag my fruit. I'll put my cantaloupe and my watermelon just in Ziploc bags so that it saves room in the refrigerator. And I tell you, this I couldn't resist. Cinnamon rolls, yummy, yummy. Just had to have some of these. And then, of course, they make the best sourdough bread. So Kim and I will be eating on this week. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to break my beans and get my beans started, and then I'll start working on my cantaloupe and my watermelon. The last thing I'll do will be our corn. But through the magic of editing, I'm only going to show you all the things that I think are relevant to you being able to do this. So this is what's going to take me a couple of hours will just be maybe 20 or 30 minutes for you all. So let's get started. So I have my green beans broken or snapped. You can see those here. I picked out some of the larger potatoes. I'm going to put these in whole, and all I did was just wash them with a little vegetable brush. I didn't have to cut anything off. So this is the pot that I'm using. If you all have been watching my channel, you know I love to go to Goodwill. I love to find good thrifting items. And I have to tell you, this has been one of my favorites. I have used the daylights out of this thing. This is an electric pot, I guess you would say. I have the electric skillet by Towncraft, but I think this is a 5-quart pot. I paid $13 for this, and when I looked it up, they were selling for over $300. But what I like about it is that I don't have to turn on the entire stove. I can just put this on the counter. It's great to make spaghetti sauce in, soup, chili, things like that. And today I'm going to cook my my green beans in it. So this is how I do mine. I'm going to put olive oil in the pan, and this is turned on. So that looks like enough olive oil. Now you can use bacon grease, you can use whatever you would like. So the next thing that's going to go in is my onion. And I am going to just saute this just a little bit, just enough to bring out the flavor in this. Won't take very long. We'll have that sauteed. And this is a sweet onion, by the way. I also picked that up from the Amish that I showed you. Okay, you can let that brown just as much as you want, whatever your taste is. But the next thing that I'm going to add are my whole potatoes. Just put those right down in there. So you see how that looks. The next thing we're going to do, put in our green beans. You hear it sizzling. So now we need to add some water. That looks like enough water there. Kind of spread that out. Next, add some salt. Put the top on and let that cook, and let's get on our watermelon and cantaloupe. Okay, we'll work on the cantaloupe first. So I cut it in half. The next thing I'm going to do is scoop these seeds out with a spoon, and you just simply go around, get all of your seeds out. And I am going to save these because I want to grow these myself next year. So you're going to scoop out all the seeds, and I may have to take two hands to do this, I'm not sure. But what you want to do is you want to scoop out all of these seeds, and then you want to remove all of this flesh. I think that's what that's called. And then you'll wash these. And then the next thing that I will do is I will peel the rind off of this cantaloupe. And I actually like to keep my cantaloupe, I cut it in slices and then I cut it in pieces. You can do it however you want to do it. And then I'll just put it in a gallon size baggie, and I will have fresh cantaloupe to eat all of this week. And I will have cantaloupe seeds to dry and plant next year. So I have peeled my cantaloupe. There is the flesh that was around the seeds. This is how I'm drying my seeds, and I'll just let those lay there until they dry out, and then I will put them in an envelope, and I will put cantaloupe 2023 on them, and I will have those seeds for next year. And this is how my cantaloupe looks. I try to cut all of the green off. So the next thing that I'm going to do, and this is just a matter of preference, I'm going to slice this, and then I'm going to cut it in chunks and bag it, and I'll have it ready for next week. So it's as simple as that. My cantaloupe is bagged and ready for the refrigerator, and we get to take the peelings and the flesh out for the chickens so that they get a treat too. Oh, don't you just love that? Don't you just love that? There's a cabbage. I got them a cabbage yesterday. They're still working on that. Supposedly that helps with coop boredom. Of all the things we have to worry about as our chicken's getting bored, right? So now it's time to start on this watermelon. And I'm going to do something that is probably a little different than what most of you do, but I am going to peel this watermelon. And when I get done, it'll be just the watermelon itself. I'll put all of the peelings right there, take it out to the chickens. Now, this is a seeded watermelon, and I probably will just save my seeds as I eat this, just sort of put them in a napkin or, whatever. But I also wanted to show you that I'm going to put these in the gallon Ziploc bags. The only difference is I do put a paper towel in the bottom because the water content is so much higher in a watermelon and it tends to have water in the bottom. And I will change those out as they get soaked, usually about every day or so. So let's get started on this watermelon. And that is how you peel a watermelon. That's how the rind came off. And the first thing that you'll see is I didn't pick a good watermelon. I was so disappointed. I was hoping that it would be a little bit redder. This will be okay. I will definitely go and get another one this week. The Orlando, Tennessee Melon Company, I saw that they started selling watermelons today. So this one I don't think is going to be as good as I thought it was, but I will eat some of it, but then I will go buy another one. So let's get this sliced up and in the bags. Definitely not sweet and juicy. Of course, the sweetest part is always in the center. And then that's another question I wanted to ask you. Do you eat salt on your watermelon? I have one of our subscribers says that he eats salt and pepper on his cantaloupe. What? I don't know about that, but I do like salt on my watermelon. But yeah, I was a little disappointed in this one, but you know what? I'm the one who picked it out, so um, I need to do better. But let's go. Let's get this bagged and then take this out to the chickens. And we'll check on the beans. The beans are cooking down. You'll notice that I took the top off so that it releases the steam, and then of course it cooks down the water. So we will probably take a break and eat some cinnamon roll, and then we'll start on the corn. So we've got our watermelon all bagged up, ready for the fridge. And I did want to mention that I use a clean towel, a kitchen towel, to cut this on. Because it is very watery and it would just make a mess if you tried to use a cutting board. And I did go ahead and pick out some seeds. I'll just rinse these off and then put those on a paper towel to start drying also. But this is going to the chickens. I think it is definitely time for a little break. And I did add some pecans to my cinnamon roll, fixed me a cup of coffee, and there's some seeds from the watermelon that are drying. So I think I'm going to go and take just a little break and then come back and start shucking the corn. And we'll get that done. Another check on the beans and potatoes. Those are looking good. Smells so good in here. I'll have to tell you, that cinnamon roll was absolutely delicious. And the coffee was just a little pick-me-up so I could get in here and finish up the corn. I did want to tell you that my green beans and potatoes are done, and see how the water sort of cooked out of those? And I'll just keep the top on and it'll stay nice and hot in there until I get ready to eat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuck the corn. It's raining outside, so I'm actually going to, I've just drug my trash can over in front of the sink, and I will shuck my corn, and then I will wash it, and we'll get it ready to blanch. What I am doing now after I shuck the corn, I am washing this in the sink under running cold water, and then when I get it washed, and I just sort of take both of my hands and put, roll the corn in my hands, and I can feel the silks and different things like that. So once I get it washed and I'm satisfied I've removed as many silks as possible, then I'll bring it over to the stove, and I have a drying towel or dish towel over here. This is the pot that I'm going to use to blanch the corn in. And then from after I get ready, when I start blanching it, I'll put it in a cold water bath right there on that side. So it's a pretty fast process once you get going. It doesn't take that long at all. And I'm just doing a dozen ears today. I'm going to leave out one for dinner, so I'm doing 11 ears today. And I have dropped the first 3 ears into my pot. And what you want to do is you do whatever makes you feel safe. For me, I'm just going to do 3 ears at a time. The last one I'm going to have for dinner, so I will leave one in there, but I am going to boil it usually for 2 minutes, or I just kind of eyeball it, and when I see it changing colors, I'll take it out. But you're just trying to blanch it. You're not trying to cook it, because after you cut it off and put it in your bags, you are going to cook it some more. So I think that's about right there. I'm going to bring it over here, put it in cold water. Just let those stay right there. There those are. And you can also do an ice bath. And what this does is it stops the cooking process. So then the next 3 ears go in. 1, 2, 3. And I just repeat this until I get the rest of this done. I have finished blanching my corn. Now, if you wanted to put up corn on the cob, at this point, you are ready to bag your corn and put it in the freezer. In my case, I'm going to cut it off of the cob. So I have got a bowl down in the sink, and I am going to use a serrated knife, and I'm going to cut my corn off, and then I will bag it and put it in the freezer, and then we are done with that. So the reason that I cut my corn off in the sink is that when you go to scrape it, it really makes a mess. So by doing it like this, it's not as bad. And I am putting about 3 of these in a bag. I have no idea how much that is, but these are just the little quart-size bags that actually I got these at the Dollar Tree. And I'm just making sure the air is out of it and folding it over. So I will finish filling these up, and we'll see how many bags we get out of 11 ears. And we ended up with 6 bags of corn for the freezer. And as you can see, I have my plate ready, and I wanted to show you this tomato. I had hoped to gather some seeds out of it, but they are so tiny. See right there? Maybe they'll get bigger as we cut down into the tomato, but I'll keep an eye on that. But I appreciate you all joining me. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and we will see you, let's see, Wednesday. We'll do a walkabout Wednesday. So we'll see you on Wednesday. Y'all have a good weekend.